Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. But everything changed when Avatar The Last Airbender went off the air, leaving us all thinking, well, what's next? This is what's next. Let's get started. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hello, my friends, one and all. Welcome to Thumb Together TV Edition. My name is Andrew Fantasia, and today we're going to be talking about the Dragon Prince together. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. Ask anybody who has seen parts of it, and they will tell you that Avatar The Last Airbender looks like a pretty damn good cartoon. Ask anybody who has seen the whole thing, and they will straight up tell you that Avatar The Last Airbender is one of the most beautiful masterpieces of animation to ever exist, period. And I am one of those people who happens to agree. Now, it has been quite a minute since Avatar The Last Airbender finished. Its sequel show, The Legend of Korra, is also finished. So what's next? What are these creators, these genius folks behind those two shows, what are they doing with their lives now? Well, one of them has a graphic novel called Thread Worlds, which I heard is pretty neat, but I haven't read it, so I can't speak for Thread Worlds. But a couple of the other ones have decided to keep on making cartoons, and Netflix is perfect for the kind of binge-worthy material they create. So lo and behold, last Friday, Netflix debuted The Dragon Prince. And despite a more cel-shaded / rotoscopy-ish kind of looking animation style, you can clearly see a lot of similarities between the way these two shows look and the way that they are structured. Without giving away anything, because spoilers are threaded all throughout this thing like a vein of gold in an old western mine, there are two halves of a continent. It used to be one big happy continent where everybody was shiny and happy and people hung out together and had raves and all was fun and there was magic everywhere. But then humans decided that they should have magic too. We're humans and we're greedy like that. So a bunch of humans tapped into dark magic. They discovered that dark magic was a thing and they were like, we want to use dark magic now and be powerful like all the other creatures. And the dark magic got pretty out of hand and the humans got pretty out of hand. And they ended up murdering the king of the dragons in cold blood because they wanted his power and whatnot. And all the other races, like the dragons and the elves, they were pretty freaking pissed off. So a war began. And the continent that was once one big happy place was split right down the middle, with all the magical creatures and elves and dragons and whatnot taking the east side, and all those sour, angry, warmongering humans taking the west side. And, of course, all the good magic was left to the east where the humans couldn't touch it. And that's our setup. And we begin with the castle in the human side of the world, where there is a reigning king and two princes. And one day, those two princes have a fateful meeting with a young elf girl who happens to cross over the border. I'm not going to tell you why she crossed the border, because that's a spoiler too. But needless to say, two humans meet an elf. And according to humans, elves are bad, and according to elves, humans are bad. That's the gist of it. Now, this is also our intro to these three core characters who become our three main protagonists on the show. First, we have Prince Callum, who is a young, kind of clumsy prince who's trying to find his way in the world, and he really wants to be a knight, and he really wants to be a mage, and he really wants to be this and that, but he's not really good at a whole lot of anything. But he's a nice dude at the end of the day. He is actually very good at drawing. He's a good artist. And he is voiced by Jack DeSena. And Jack DeSena was the voice of Sokka from Avatar The Last Airbender. So you can clearly hear some very Sokka-esque moments coming out of this dude's mouth. Then you have his younger brother, Ezram. Ezram is still a little kid. And he carries around this little pet frog thing, which is very cute. And he's just a sweet kid, and he likes animals, and he can kind of like talk to animals, kind of, but not really. He's not quite Dr. Dolittle, but he's close. And then we have, who for me has been the standout character so far, is Rayla, the elf girl. The woman who does the voice of Rayla is named Paula Burrows, and I can't find a whole lot on her. I don't know what else she's been in. But this lady does such a terrific job of just bringing this character to life. Her mannerisms and her insecurities, they're all there in the voice, which is fantastic. The animation is beautiful, but you don't even need the animation when Rayla's on screen because you can just feel how she feels just in the way her voice acting comes out. Now, the Dragon Prince is sweet, but it is also short, like most sweet things are. I'm looking in your direction, Tom Cruise. In the past, with something like Avatar: The Last Airbender, every season would be 20 episodes, or as they would call it, 20 chapters. The Dragon Prince is only 9 chapters, which is short even for a Netflix show. And considering these are not full hour, this is not like a 58-minute show. These are little, 26-minute chunks. It flies by. And if you attempt to binge this, which you probably will because it's really good, you're going to be done like in the blink of an eye, and you'll be like, where's the rest of my show now? What happens next? And unfortunately, I don't know how long the wait is going to be for season 2, or book 2, as they call it here. Again, it's very similar to what they've done with The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. And naturally, of course, it's one hell of a cliffhanger ending too. So prepare yourself for that. Prepare yourself for a really excellent but brief foray into this new world, and then prepare yourself for the agonizing wait that'll immediately follow for however long it takes for them to release book 2. Overall, I was cautious at first getting into this. Quick side story. One of my favorite movies of all time is Hot Fuzz, okay? And Hot Fuzz stars the actor Simon Pegg. And that was the first thing I had ever seen Simon Pegg in. So I was like, oh, this guy's great. I can't wait to watch his other movies now. About a year and a half later, he came out with another movie called Run, Fatboy Run. And I was so blinded by excitement to see Simon Pegg again, because Hot Fuzz just made me so happy, that I rushed to the theater to watch Run, Fatboy Run, and I walked out of there very disappointed. And that was on me, because I was expecting another Hot Fuzz level of goodness, because it had the same kind of people involved. And that's obviously not what I got. So when it came to the Dragon Prince, that same sort of story came to my mind, and I'm like, okay, just because the people who made Avatar and Korra made this, don't let that get in your brain, because you're going to set yourself up for disappointment. Thankfully, when I sat down and I watched this, I was like, this feels so much like The Last Airbender. It feels so much like The Legend of Korra. Not in a copy-pasted kind of way, although I'm sure there are going to be critics out there who will disagree with that statement, but it didn't feel like it was copy-pasted. It just felt like a spiritual successor. It felt like the same people with the same good ideas, the same storytelling methods, the same humor, the same flair for the dramatic, the same love for fantasy and magic and spirituality. All of those same people got together and said, okay, we told this cool little fantasy that had like Asian martial arts influences. Now let's tell like a straight up sword and sorcery Tolkien kind of fantasy and see what we can do with it. And they nailed it, baby. When I look back at another fantasy cartoon that starts with the letter D that premiered on Netflix this summer, I think of how we went from Futurama to Disenchantment, and even though we had a lot of the same people, they weren't firing on all cylinders when it came to Disenchantment. At the Dragon Prince, they were firing on all cylinders again, and it was great. And they created this brand new world for us to play in. And now I'm excited to find out what happens next. I want to know how these characters are going to get out of the bad situation that they're in. Because of the way the setup is, I have a feeling there's going to be 6 seasons of this. So I'm anticipating 5 more of these 9-episode seasons to be parsed out to us throughout the next year or so. I hope we don't have to wait very long, because I think Netflix has finally found a goldmine cartoon. I couldn't be happier to see my Avatar homies back again in some way, shape, or form, telling more great stories. So that has been The Dragon Prince. Please check it out. It is the best thing, in my opinion, to hit Netflix this year. Thank you for watching Thumb Together TV. My name is Andrew Fantasia. I will see you here next time, and until then, adios, baby.